Welcome, Ecom Logistics Nation. Thank you for joining today's episode. We're on a mission to share e-commerce logistics insights, trends, successes, and challenges from the leaders and innovators in our space.
What I'm already doing, what is already going to take me X amount of time, can I do it in a fraction of that X? The AI will now be able to understand natural language and then be able to create some of this configuration.
Welcome, Ecom Logistics Nation, to a very special episode coming from the JW Marriott in San Antonio at the Manhattan Momentum Conference. I have on the pod today Ravi Maganti, who is the director over at Manhattan Associates, responsible for technical services, all the technical products, as well as with me, I have Drew Mastin, a partner, a user, and the person that's actually making magic happen at Manhattan. So just to get started, Ravi, maybe a little bit of background of what do you do at Manhattan and how does someone actually get into doing what you do at Manhattan?
Yeah, hi Anand, Andrew.
All right.
My name is Ravi Maganti. I've been with Manhattan for 20 years now. And what I do at Manhattan in my current position is a product manager. So I manage the Manhattan Active platform, which is a cloud-native, open, extensible platform based on which we have built the MAWM solution, MATM solution, Manhattan Active Omni, and various other solutions. But coming back to the second part of your question, my journey to this role has taken several years because the platform came into being about 10 years back, right? So we built it, we started to envision it and we started to build it. And I was part of that journey. I joined the cloud platform team back in 2017 and I worked through a lot of the platform architecture principles and then got in several requirements on, hey, we now have an open and extensible platform. Can we build a toolkit? And we were able to build a product like Quiet, right? There's also a sense of getting that opportunity within the organization, primarily because there's a need in the market for it. So when you talk about proactive, customers want to go build their own extensibility, for example, and then you need someone who's going to go tell them what it does, what it can do, and so on. And who better than the person who built it was the idea. So that's how you typically get into these roles.
This nuance idea, right? Because for years I've used the terminology in the Manhattan space. You can get configurable or you can get extensible, right? And that's how the market was kind of dictated. But the fact that now you can be configurable and be extensible, and what that means to some of the audience, right? Like proactive as a solution allows you to create. There is not an inherent assumption that the product knows everything. It allows you to say, maybe there are things we don't know. You can go do this by yourself, right?
Regardless of the class of the solution, and while our solutions are all industry-leading, each customer is going to be different. But no matter how flexible the solution is, each customer would want to track their own custom attributes or have their own documents, interfaces, integrations, all set up because it's just purpose-built for them.
Right.
And what was earlier always a services engagement is now an option for customers to say, hey, why can't I do it myself? And we are providing them the tooling to be independent and be able to do anything they want with our systems.
And just the architectural need of what it takes to develop something like that, right? I think the realization only comes once you kind of look at it. So just background for Drew, he's always been a customer.
That's amazing.
Yeah, GameStop, Foot Locker, our time together at FedEx and Genco, Anderson Merchandising. The list goes,
Osborne Hesse Logistics, UPS Supply Chain.
So given all of that experience as a user, this is a pretty significant shift, right? Like to go to active and have tooling of the active nature.
Sure. Everyone wants technology to be a differentiator. Everyone wants to be able to do things that no one else can do. So that ties back to Ravi's point about having unique requirements or unique needs. That's always been a difficult thing with off-the-shelf commercial products, right? So a lot of companies end up building their own software or going a different direction. It changes the build versus buy decision, in my opinion. So now we can all use commercial products and we can still have our own differentiators. So that's the first thing I thought of, being able to change screens or change the RF experience for users. Those are groundbreaking capabilities, I think, for sure.
And proactive being a platform tool is not just for WMS, it's for any other active SaaS solution.
And it is democratization of allowing people to be able to do what they want to do and not making that assumption under the hood, right? And maybe just shifting the tone a little bit, because I can tell you I've had this conversation from the day, what was it, November 2022, I think, when he announced the announcement, OpenAI just like came out and said, this is what we are doing. And everyone's like, the world's going to be on fire. And then people started realizing its use. The very next thing that happens is it goes through that hype cycle, right? Of what is real, what's not real, what can you actually do, all of these assumptions. And I've been trying to seek like the right implementation of AI and Gen AI, because I delineate the two to a certain degree, because there is machine learning aspects to the other side of AI. There could be computer vision. So there is the Gen AI from an LLM perspective. What is the right implementation? And around Gen AI as a solution, could you explain the use case of what are you trying to solve for the customers themselves?
We announced two products. One is called Maven and Maven, and second is Maven and Assist.
Mm-hmm.
So Maven is a specialized product which was announced for the customer service and the customer chat use cases. This is specifically for Maven Active Omni customers. If they want to enable their consumers to interact, as in going into a retailer's website and asking about where's my order, how about it, we now offer Maven as a tool which customers can implement, and their consumers can directly talk in the chat. With the chatbot, mitigating the need for an agent to be behind that. So that's the primary purpose of it. Of course, the chatbot cannot do everything. It can do a lot more than what was previously available. If there's a shift over from the Gen AI chat into actual agent chat, we have built tooling around the customer service dashboards and such, which gives instant information, summarization, sentiment analysis, and so on. So that's what Maven is, and it's a new skill that's available for Active Omni subscribers.
And so it's Omni, but it also looks at like WM?
It's just this one specific use case.
Okay.
Assist, on the other hand, is something that's going to be available within all active solutions, right? So Assist is our skill for the general capabilities of Gen AI inside our solutions. And what we unveiled at Momentum were basically two capabilities at the starting line of it. One is called knowledge base, which essentially mitigates the amount of time you'll need to go through hundreds of pages of help documentation, understanding a system like WMS, and instead just ask it about how in MAWM, how do I configure put away, or in MAWM, how do I do transportation planning?
Right.
And the AI to understand that natural language question and come back with an answer, give you the steps to do it, and so on.
So specifically on the assist side, right? Like, is it taking the manual and automating, or is it contextual to how your facility or your TMS is designed?
There's a big difference between the two. What we have currently built is with the product documentation, right? We are able to strap down these powerful models to just know about our product documentation and nothing else. The key difference is, as humans, we can go one documentation at a time, ruminate on it, regurgitate it, understand yard, and understand cycle counting as three separate processes. But if I have a question that relates to all three of them in a warehousing standpoint, this type of capability is able to look at all three and give you an intelligent answer that combines all three processes, right? So that's the value of it. Now, coming to your contextual understanding portion, the technology is very much there. The way these LLMs and, frankly, the AI companies are progressing, it's there, but it's going to take some time to productize those type of capabilities.
So how do you see the future? How do you see from end user perspective? Amazing that you can right now go in from a Gen AI perspective, be able to get the response to give me contextual understanding of at least the documentation that's loaded in there. And it tells you, hey, because it's a vast ecosystem, to be able to go through it versus being able to converse about the documentation, I think it just changes the dynamic.
I was 4 years ago, we used to complain about, not enough documentation or difficult to navigate documentation.
Yeah, so the future, I look at it I'm going to apply the same template, which the gurus of AI apply, right? It's going to be speed and efficiency. And what I mean by that is, if you're already doing a process inside your transportation management system, warehouse management system, or order management system, these tools are going to let you do them much faster. For example, configuration.
Right.
So WMS configuration takes months today, right?
Yep.
Implement each module, test it, certify it, deploy it, and then the go live process also happens with inbound first and outbound.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we compress that?
Yeah, the compressing part of it is one, and the second is the efficiency part.
Yeah.
Right. So what I'm already doing, what is already going to take me X amount of time, can I do it in a fraction of that X? The AI will now be able to understand natural language and then be able to create some of these configurations. In fact, some of the proof of concepts we have worked on, easy example to take is promotions, right? Promotions in retailers happen on a regular basis. They're trying to push product out and they're creating these promotions. So it needs you to go configure rules, select which vendors, which region of the country, what stores, what percentage, all of those things. It's manual laborious configuration that needs to be done after the business decides what the promotion is going to be. But imagine if your promotion is just fed into the AI system, which is already embedded into an active, for example, and understands the promotion description, and it's just going to create that for you. It's going to save you that 30, 40 minutes it takes you to configure it.
Yep.
So if you extrapolate that into other systems like warehouse management, transportation management, and all of it, you want to just understand what is this configuration doing for me, because it's going like in a TurboTax fashion, it's going 5 deep, 6 deep into different things.
Yep.
As a human, unless I'm an expert in that WMS, I can't really know what's going on. Mm-hmm. Now imagine clicking on a button and telling you exactly what's configured, what you can expect the system to do based on that configuration.
I would love to get like a blank instance of WM someday and basically go set up a warehouse for client X that has 17 rows with this type of masking of locations. This is the task types that I require. This is the strategy, blah, blah, and just like spin to a point where like configurations really fast. But that's one future, right? Like that's config. But there is this really inherent play of real-time execution, conversational dialogue, because config happens and then it's done. And you can ask, right?
Yeah.
But every single day, right? Like this advisor to a supervisor or a manager or a general manager or even to the user on the floor, the right contextual information at the right time. It's like, what wave should I run now? You know how complex it is. There is like people sitting behind the scenes trying to figure out which template should be executed next, right?
Yeah.
So
that's going to be the realm of that, essentially, because what wave should I run now would be a learning problem.
Right.
Because I need to learn over months and years what are the patterns in which you fulfill on a daily basis. You prioritize delivery, you prioritize customers, and all of that. Based on that learning, we'll actually, regardless of generative AI, build in feature functions that's able to do that for you. Where generative AI is coming in is interpreting all of that for you. Okay, can you tell me in the last 3 months, which were the most common types of orders that were fulfilled? From an operation standpoint, there are several use cases. Essentially, it's going to look like, hey, can you tell me what's wrong with my current shift? Am I running behind on anything?
Exactly.
And the system coming back and telling me that, hey, your picking is going fine, but packing is behind. And then this is an example we took in last year's Momentum, where we can now have these systems and these technologies. Number one, identify those type of problems. And number two, just take in those commands to say, okay, move Nina and Drew to packing, so packing can finish on time. Right. So what would have been the AI can just do it for you, right? So those are the type of things that you will see in the future. Ultimately, the reason I say that is if you look at the broad spectrum of all AI innovation that has come out right now,
right,
in year 2, it's going to be either retail consumer chatbots,
absolutely,
or it's going to be knowledge bases, or it's going to be code generation.
That is correct.
So as humans, that's what we have found use for it. So if there's a multiple different groupings of warehousing experts, transportation experts, and so on, they'll also probably gravitate towards
Or use cases.
solutions.
Exactly.
Where did those ideas come from, right? Manhattan has already made improvements to the products where you can just put in a data value and the system will find it for you without me having to know which screen to go to and which field to put that in. Is that the customer PO? Is that the customer's order number? So I can see where the AI can help in a simpler form, right? Instead of me even typing that,
Exactly.
I can just have a conversation. Where did the examples that you gave come from? Do you have real life customers asking for those types of capabilities?
Yeah, so what we looked at was, given that we took a few weeks and a few months to understand the technology. So once we understood the technology, we did an internal brainstorm to come up with these ideas. But now in year 2 is where each of our product groups, each of our customer groups through our product councils are able to provide us those use cases and feedback on what they'd like to see. So I think at this point, we just have the understanding of the technology, and there's a lot of potential in the future.
Maybe one last one for you is the amount of work that has gone into AI enablement on your side and the tooling that goes around it. Like the same audience that also is looking at Gen AI or AI capabilities in logistics might also be looking at different divisions of their organizations. Having gone through the journey and continuing this journey, challenges in implementation of AI, what are some of the lessons learned that you would kind of give advice that this is a general advice for anyone in technology looking to do this?
Yeah, great question. So again, 2 things to think about here. The past 18 months since the announcement, that pivotal announcement, has been a rough road because the models were announced, they were also learning, they were evolving, and you would not always find the right responses. You might have heard of terms like hallucination.
Oh yeah, I've actually tried it.
So what happens with hallucination is, unless you're very careful, you'll not know for some things whether it's telling you the truth or it appears to be the truth, right? So end of the day, there's no being behind these AIs, right? So what the technology is actually going through different types of search algorithms to find out what words are related with another and then coming back. So it's feigning intelligence that way. And hence, you're going to get these hallucinations, and then those LLMs require a lot of tuning and all their upgrades to different models to be able to get to a position. So right now, we are at a place where these technologies do not hallucinate as much. In fact, it's been proven that it's practically impossible to remove the hallucination part of it, but mitigate it. And to mitigate it, these companies are offering different types of tools. Right? They have concepts such as grounding, verification, and all of those type of things.
Like Microsoft basically restricts you from no more than 30 questions in one sequence, right?
And also, they're doing things like, before it gives you an answer, the answer is going to be sent for verification. So what it'll do is, okay, here's my answer and here's the actual data set. Does it really make sense or not? So to get to that place where, am I actually getting the right answer? Yes, I got an answer on how to set up some process in WMS, but is it from my WMS or it's based on what the LLM knows? Right, so those are the type of things, and we have seen those to be mitigated now, and it's working fine.
How about data and security side of the universe? Because for you, like, each of these models are essentially within the tenancy of whoever is using it, right? Like there is a lot of conversations that you can't bring it back into the general cloud LLM model that can now be shared. So that partitioning side of that business to say, if you're going to use something, make sure it's within your frame and protected, right?
So again, the approach we have taken is mostly through a technology called RAG, or retrieval augmented generation. Okay. All we do is orchestrate our APIs to get the right contextual data at the right time and feed only the portions that are relevant to answer that question at that point in time.
Makes a lot of sense.
So then you need to build either a process or a product on top of it to make it work.
Fantastic. This was very educational. If you don't mind sharing, how can people reach you, find out about some of the products that fall within your umbrella, the SKUs? about them and where should they go to find out information on that, as well as where should they reach out to you if they have any questions?
Yeah, thank you for your compliments. I'd love to interact more online and offline, so we can talk more and brainstorm. I can be reached on LinkedIn. My name, Ravi Maganti, and Manhattan would give you the unique combination of Ravi Maganti. So going to www.manh.com is going to give your listeners and your viewers the information on the innovations that Manhattan has put in as part of this conference.
Thank you very much. And thank you, Drew. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Ninad Acharya, CEO and co-founder of Fulfillment IQ. And I'm here with
Dan Call, CRO and partner at Fulfillment IQ. We're the team behind the Ecom Logistics podcast. Our mission is to provide you with genuine insights from our work alongside logistics leaders to help you improve your supply chain.
In the Ecom Logistics podcast, we share the knowledge and the insights we've gained from working alongside amazing brands, retailers, 3PLs, and VCs, so you can make the most out of your supply chain journey.
If you like what you're hearing, we'd truly appreciate your support with a 5-star rating on your favorite podcasting channel. Your feedback not only keeps us going, but also helps others find the podcast. If you think Fulfillment IQ can assist you, or if you have an idea related to logistics, just reach out to us on LinkedIn. We're always up for a chat and ready to explore new possibilities together.
Stay tuned to the Ecom Logistics podcast on your favorite podcast platform for fresh and practical insights into e-commerce and logistics. Until next time, let's keep making a difference.